Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We're going to invite you to come speak again for Habitat, or I'm sure there's some preachers here. They may want you to come preach again. Awfully good sermon. I was thinking on the way over here how I was going to introduce Jen Houlihan, who is a city council member for Simpsonville. Because she has been through thick and thin through on this property and stood with us all the way. Not just this property, she's a part of our Women Build and has done literally everything we've ever asked her to do around Habitat. I started to call you ambassador. That's a pretty good word for you, and I thought maybe actually warrior, because there were some times you really had to go to bat for us in a very strong way, and Jen, we've appreciated it.
So I was here when the wall raising took place. It wasn't that long ago. And I look at this house today and it makes me think about the whole journey it took to get here. And as Monroe said, that started 13 years ago. It was a long journey. And it was not an easy journey by any means. It was a journey, however, that was well worthwhile. But it wasn't easy. It started 13 years ago, in 2008, when Habitat approached the city with the idea of purchasing this land for this development. They went through a lot of hard work to try to get to an agreement. And in 2013, they got to an agreement. The story of this house, the story of this journey is never give up. Never give up. Because in 2013, they came to an agreement. But then, I don't know if you know this or not, politics happened. Change happened. Leadership happened. And the result of that was that agreement fell through. The agreement fell through. If it had been an easy journey, we wouldn't be here today. This neighborhood would already be done. But it was not an easy journey. But Habitat said, never give up. In 2015, I was elected to office, and not very long after that, Monroe was knocking on my door. Hey, did you know there's this property that Habitat is interested in? Because Monroe never gave up. Habitat never gave up. And so he sat me down and he said, listen, this is what Habitat is. This is what Habitat does for people. This is what Habitat could do for Simpsonville. And Habitat wants to be in Simpsonville. Are you in? Spoiler alert, I was in. And we got together on that. So I and Councilman Gooch, who's not here today, went back to the city attorney and we said, get that agreement out. Dust it off, renew the language, refresh it, update whatever needs to be updated, and let's get it before council. And we did. We got it back before council. And what we discovered was, it's not an easy journey, and you have to never give up, because we faced stark opposition. Talk about fighting and being a warrior. We faced opposition I had no idea we would face in getting this development started, but we did, and it was loud and vocal opposition. And at many points it seemed like maybe we wouldn't be able to get there because it didn't seem like people really wanted it to happen or wanted to believe in it. And so it came to pass that on 2016, on a January day, that was sort of like this day. It had recently rained, so there was mud around. I ended up out here on this property and there was no pavement, there was mud. It was after church and Sunday lunch with my grandma, and we came out here, my husband and I, and walked around and looked. I've gotten smarter about my footwear choices now because I had on heels that day and stalked through what was dirt and trees and mud and looked around and thought, can this be more? Can this be what Monroe and Habitat are talking about? And I saw it, and I believed in it. And so we went back to council and we looked at that agreement and we fought for it. And it passed by a very slim margin out of that first meeting. Very slim, and amongst very vocal opposition. Never give up. The people of this community didn't give up, and Habitat didn't give up. The Golden Strip Coalition, the faith community of Simpsonville in the upstate area did not give up, because they heard that opposition too, and they said, oh no, we're going to show up and show out. And they did. They were at the next council meeting. And they filled the room. They filled the room, and Father Mike from Holy Cross said a beautiful prayer. And 6 people got up one by one and spoke on behalf of Habitat and asked council to pass this project. And at one point, 6 people had already spoken, and so Councilman Gooch said, if you're here to support Habitat, if you want us to vote yes, stand up. An entire room full of people stood up and raised their hands and said yes. Passed that meeting 5-2. A little closer. Because it's not an easy journey, but you never give up. And so we went at it again. And ultimately, we're here because in 2017, a whole year later, we passed that agreement and we're able to move forward. The story here is never give up. But it's not just that story either. It's Ashley's story of never give up, right? From the time she was a child, never give up. To the times that she went through, that she had challenges and obstacles that would make any person think, I can't, she never gave up. She was in a situation where she had to drop out of high school and care for herself and her siblings. She was moving all over the place, but she never gave up. She went back and got that GED because she never gave up. She went back and got an associate's degree because she never gave up. She looked at her 2 children and said, I will never give up. She signed up for Habitat. And someone asked me earlier, what was some of that opposition you heard back in 2016? Well, some of it was a lot of misconceptions, things that people don't understand about Habitat. One of those being, they just give things away to people. Well, you know and I know that that's not true. That's not what Habitat does at all. Habitat is hard work. It's hard work. You're talking 200 hours of sweat equity, classes to learn about financial management and education. It's a lot of work. It's not an easy road either. That's not an easy journey. But Ashley never gave up on that either. And so that's what I think when I see this house today and see everyone who is here to support it. Never give up. And this isn't the end of your journey. It will continue from here. And there will still be challenges. There will still be obstacles because it's not easy. Life isn't easy. Those challenges and obstacles happen again and again, and they'll be here. You'll have great times in this house sitting around that table talking about hopes and dreams and future of your children. There will be laughter and there will be tears and there will be times when you are joyous, but there will also inevitably be times of sorrow, fear, frustration, because that's life and it happens. But I hope that when those times come, you look at this house, you remember this journey, your journey, this community's journey to make this happen, and think to yourself, I will never give up. And I don't have to do it alone. Because if I feel like giving up, this community didn't give up before and won't give up in the future. So Merry Christmas and welcome Simply Home.